Hello, everyone. Welcome to Doing Marketing Differently. My name is Kathleen Celmins. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Amplified Now, a video-first content marketing agency that helps businesses with a purpose create content with a purpose. And with me, I have Mariana. Would you like to introduce yourself, Mariana?
Sure. So my name is Mariana. I'm the founder and CEO of the Impact Driven Entrepreneur, and we help coaches and consultants to build a business that allows them to work 3 days a week, doing work that helps people. So we're very aligned in that part.
Right. Business with a purpose. I love that. I mean, it resonates. What I like about calling it that too is that it allows the person who is seeing the message to align. Like, oh, I don't have a purpose. Okay, fine. We'll never talk. But if like I had somebody talk to me earlier this week who was like, this is just like everything you said on your homepage, because I have like a thing that's like you don't put people over profit. You know, it's not that profits don't matter. They do. We all have to profit. But this series is about doing marketing differently. And to me, the very definition of doing marketing differently is saying that you can build a 6-figure business working only 3 days a week. How did you get there?
So, like, full transparency, I've been doing this online business for 7 years, and I've been running businesses and doing sales for over 14 years. So, like, it was not overnight.
None of it is. Yeah, it's good to say, because if somebody's looking for a quick fix, they can navigate away now.
Yeah, exactly. So how I got there is just over time really improving the systems of workflow all consistently over time. And so that is one of the pieces, right, is like really good workflows, really efficient workflows. And then the other piece is team, as you can hear me talking about it, right? It's having people in place that are going to help you. And for me, that's a big part of the impact I want to make. Like when this whole thing happened with COVID, I was so fulfilled having people on our team. We do like gratitude on Friday, and they were just like, I am so grateful to still have a job. I am so grateful that we get to work online and this is not a risk for us, right, for COVID. So that kind of really solidified for me, okay, yeah, team is a big part for me of the impact that I want to make in the world.
So, okay, you say you've been doing this for 14 years. Did you have at the onset an idea of how often you wanted to work? Or was there a point in which the hustle and grind just wasn't doing it for you and you thought that something had to change?
Oh no, I always mess up before I learn something.
Right. Is there, does anybody actually learn things the easy way? Like, is that something that happens to anyone?
No, so like I climbed up the corporate ladder. I was asked to run 3 hospitals, and I was like, yes, this is totally what I want to do. And then that week that I was asked to do the promotion, my daughter was born preemie at 28 weeks, weighing 2 pounds. And so I was like, okay, I'm bouncing. Like, I'm going to go all into this coaching business I have on the side here. And that's what I did. So what ended up happening, because I came from the hospital background, during climbing up that corporate ladder, sometimes I was on call 24/7, covering 26 hospitals. Like I would do cases that would last 24 hours straight. And so I basically recreated that in my business, working like crazy, hustling all the time, and getting to a point of burnout several times before I was like, this is not going to work for me. Like I can't keep burning the both ends of the stick, because at home I'm primary caretaker for a special needs child, and then at my business I'm also like going full court press to move that forward. And so I was making good money, and I was like, and it would be easier honestly to go back to a job, because I would have a strict schedule. I could have a stable, like put them in school, put them in daycare, and just not have to worry about balancing it all, right? Like I had to get to that point of like, it would be easier to go to a job. And then I had to, again, like we talked about in the beginning, like tune in, what is the reason? What is the purpose? And then I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to devote myself to a job where my purpose is not going to be carried out. And so that came back to centering there and then rebuilding from the ground up.
That's really cool. And also not very surprising, because most of us, when we get started, think, well, if I just work really hard, I can get there faster. But I think it's important, even though it took a preemie and also burnout with a special needs kid and a business, I also think it's important to listen to those beacons, because there have been times where I've burnt out, taken a few days off, and then gotten back right into it, like right at full speed. So I have a question for you about like what kind of businesses can work on that modified schedule?
Yeah, so if you are teaching something online or you have a skill set that can be taught or transferred, so that is primarily who we help, so that they're starting to leverage. It's like when I climbed up my in corporate in hospital administration, I started as a bedside nurse in the ICU. So I was using my body a lot, lifting patients and doing all the manual work, like titrating drips, like all of the work that it takes to be a nurse. And I was like, we're exhausted because I worked overnight. When you start, like that's your indoctrination. So I was like, okay, this is really a lot of physical labor. I had no idea when I was in nursing school how much physical labor it would involve. And then I started to notice, if I use my brain more, if I problem solve more, if I am, utilizing strategy more, I can get out of the physical labor. And due to, like just my body breaking down in that situation, I started doing that. And that's how I climbed up the corporate ladder. And so we want to do the same thing in our business. You want to think about, how can you think at a higher level? How can you, think more critically, project management stuff more. And the same thing goes for clients. So for people who are running agencies or doing something that is very involved with clients, like if you're a chiropractor, you're doing all of the manual adjustments or anything like that, right? So how can you teach the other components? Can you teach holistic health, right? Can you teach video editing? And you start like doing it in that way where you're doing a teaching model. And then that first, so how I always have it is like your first teaching model. We run MS group programs. So like you run everybody together, all lives, you get the feedback, you run it like a university type program, right? You just work off the syllabus outline and then you just run. And with that feedback, then you're able to run session after session. Then you can go into a course format. But basically, it works for anyone who has something that if you taught it to somebody and they went to do it, they could get a result with it.
Cool. I love that. I love that. Like thinking about it really dovetails with the E-Myth, which is a book that I have recommended to, at this point, hundreds of other people. But as soon as, because like you can't only work 3 days a week if you're the technician, right? Like, so for people who are watching this and haven't had me buy you the E-Myth, the point of that book is that there's 3 roles. There's the technician, the manager, and then the CEO, big picture thinker. And so every one of us, every business owner is all 3 of those things. But you're right. It's very similar to what they say in the E-Myth is like, if you're the only one who knows how to make the pies, then there's no way you can get out of it if you have a bakery. But I like the idea of like taking your stuff and the stuff from the book, which is like just write recipes. People, I think, have a mental block around SOPs, and I say people and I mean me. But like, I follow recipes. I could write a recipe, like it takes these ingredients and this is what you do. And so people don't come to you in the technician role, do they? Do they come to you when they're doing all the work themselves? Do you have to convince people to hire an assistant?
Yeah, that's a great question. So most people know they want to, but they can't figure out how. Because what happens is if you are the technician and the manager and the CEO, you're also not just those three roles, but you're spanning it around the entire customer success journey is what we call it. But basically it's like customer acquisition from like follower to lifelong brand promoter. So you're doing marketing, you're doing sales, you're doing customer fulfillment, and you're trying to keep and retain customers. Those are four separate roles that you're now doing in three different capacities, right? So what happens is they'll run from like, okay, I have to go get clients because now I have no clients left. And so they're getting clients. Those clients come in, they're fulfilling on all of them. And then they forget, oh crap, I gotta go get clients now. And then they run back over there. And so this back and forth is oftentimes where they're like, this is my problem and now I really need help, but I also like, I can't afford it, right? Because my income's not stable enough. And the income's not stable because they haven't written those recipes, right? Like you're talking about, they haven't said everything is in their brain. And so we need to get it out onto paper, get help with it so that all the work that needs to happen is doing so consistently.
Yep. That makes plenty of sense to me, especially because, and this took me a long time to get around, like just because you can do every process, every piece of it, all three hats and all four pillars, and just because you can, first of all, doesn't mean you should, and second of all, doesn't mean you're the best person for them. I stopped offering web design because I had to look myself in the mirror and say, I am not actually that good at that. There are things that I do so much better. You know, I can craft an email sequence that will make the person who created it want to buy it. But with websites, it's just a totally different beast. And so, like, learning to let that go and bringing on other people that are better at that, you know, is a great way to build the agency you want. To keep with my example, because that's what I have, I started dreading Monday mornings, and I own my own company. Like, that was one of like the goals of ever doing this on your own, is to not dread Monday. And so I could see the burnout person just thinking like, well, I'm not charging enough. It's too hard to get clients. It's too hard to fulfill. I'm not doing a great enough job, so my referral engine is broken. And I'm not only doing the things that I'm an 8 to 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 because of that fear. That's awesome that you can help people get out of that fear. Because I've noticed that too with other business owners where they say, well, I tried to hire somebody and it didn't work. And my question is always like, what did you set up as the metrics for success? I wanted them to do it. I paid them $40 an hour. That's not what they're there for. Like, use it. So it's a very interesting. I love what you do with people to help get them. Basically, you rescue them from not going back to like corporate work, because otherwise they're going to be where you were and completely burnt out, and they think, well, forget it. I don't have to take my work home if I work for somebody else. So how can people learn more about you? Is there a place where they can go and download something?
Yeah, we have a special gift for everybody. It is called the 3-day CEO schedule. It's a training that we're running. And you can go to impactdrivenentrepreneur.com/CEO coach schedule.
Great. And we'll link to that. So for anybody who is looking at this check the blog post or check the description of the YouTube video. Thank you so much, Mariana. Is there anything else you want people to know if they're stuck?
Yeah. Start today. If you're going to do anything today, just record yourself on Loom and record your first training video.
That's a great piece of advice. Thanks, everyone.